The Odessia, Semi-Lunar Episode 3, The Infinity Heart-Board the Love Hotel. "How do I look?" Odessa asked Trousers as she admired her reflection in the mirror. She wore an ornate green evening gown and was heavily made up. "You're unrecognizable," he responded dryly. Trousers stretched out on the bed as Odessa turned around this way and that to admire the swirl of her skirt. "But Trousers, don't you think beautiful clothes are exciting?" "If you say so." "Well, I do say so. I haven't got dressed up since the circus days. I can enjoy dressing up for once. But how are you to get that nonsense off your face?" Odessa gave him a sour look and turned to the makeup artist. "Do you think you could give me something to remove this makeup after the ball?" Yes, of course," the makeup artist stuttered, and handed Odessa a bottle of makeup remover. "Don't tell anyone where you got it from, though." And with that the makeup artist shot a frightened glance at Trousers, whose hackles were still raised, and beat a hasty exit from the room. A few minutes later, Odessa and Trousers entered the purple Mobius dining hall of the Love Hotel. Across the back wall was a giant banner that read Infinity Heart Ball, and a second banner underneath it depicting a red and white love heart combined with a blue infinity symbol. Trousers trotted to the dance floor and slipped between the feet of the smartly dressed men and women who danced like children around the center. There he located a large drain that blended with the floor. Just as I thought," he said to himself, and rejoined Odessa, who had crossed the hall and taken a seat. A faint smile had been fixed on her face since the makeup artist had left their room. "Listen to me, Odessa," he urged, and dug his claws into her lap. "This is very important. I'm asking you to sit over there near the entrance. If you enjoy yourself, you can stay, but please do me this favor." "Fine, I'll move, but I think you're making a big fuss over nothing." She picked him up and crossed the hall to the table closest to the entrance. "I've never seen such perfect people in my life," she mused. All the men were perfectly turned out in smart suits and had full heads of hair. All the women radiated in scandalous evening gowns and striking makeup. "Everyone is so friendly here. I really like this place, Trousers." "I don't like the smell of it." A troop of beautiful waiters and waitresses marched out of the kitchen with platters of steaming meat and vegetables for the tables. "I'm suddenly very hungry," she remarked. Trousers stood on his hind legs and sniffed at the platter. "Don't eat this meat, Odessa." "But everyone else is eating it. Why can't I?" "I can't tell you now, but have some of these vegetables in the spread instead." Odessa took a bit more salad and helped herself to a slice of cheese. "None of this food really tastes like anything, but that meat smells amazing." The rest of the table took portions of meat, but nobody ate of it. The hall fell silent. "What's going on? Why has everyone stopped talking?" Odessa whispered to Trousers. A towering, broad-shouldered woman with jet-black hair strode to the center of the dance floor on a pair of 6-inch stiletto heels. A host of shirtless, muscular men converged on the dance floor, got down on all four, and assembled into a tight formation. The tall woman stepped onto this human platform and boomed her announcement in a breathy, sultry voice.
"What a wonderful event we have here. You're all so beautiful. You're all so gorgeous. We all have so much love to express and so much youth to share. I know you must be starving for the main course, so let's get back on with the evening. I'll see you all back down at the nursery."
The woman stepped off the man platform and departed the stage with her arms wrapped around two muscular pairs of shoulders. "Odessa, follow me down here," said Trousers, and slipped underneath the table. "Would you mind telling me what's going on?" "What's this about a nursery?" she asked. "You'll see, but we need to go immediately. I've had it up to here with your—" Her voice trailed off as she looked up from under the table. All around, the guests were kissing passionately. The hall was filled with gentle moans and the smacking of moistened lips. Odessa looked around wide-eyed. "I think it's time to—" "Hey, let go of me!" A young woman with an ecstatic grin reached across the table and grabbed Odessa's arm. She wrenched herself free, and as the woman laughingly lunged towards her, another woman pulled her away and ripped at her dress. Odessa leaped away from the table and followed Trousers to the main doors of the hall, but they slammed shut in her face. "Trousers, we can't get out." "Keep near the walls, Odessa, and don't let them pull you in." The people in the hall engaged more passionately with each other. The moans gave way to groans, the shuffling of dresses to violent bumps and thuds, as the participants tore each other's clothes off and transformed the hall into an array of phalluses amidst a gaping sea. The massive writhing body snaked towards the platform on the dance floor at the center of the hall. The groans and sounds of slapping flesh came at her from every direction. Men and women in every combination pushed and pulled and collided with each other, and the workmanlike grunts were overtaken by shouts of delight and screams. Indeed, the participants were copulating with such intensity that some backs bore deep wounds and limbs were dripping from bites. "This is terrible! How can they do this to each other?" "This is what the Love Hotel was all about, Odessa." Odessa put a serviette over her mouth and averted her eyes as the screams and frantic grunts were interspersed with howls and wails. A young man being sodomized by a much larger one wrapped his arms around the waist of a third man in front of him who was thrusting into a woman. The thruster spun around, latched onto the head of the one who grabbed him, and pulled powerfully. The young man's neck gave an almighty crack, and he collapsed onto the floor. A woman nearby was caught in a tug-of-war between two men. Each soon parted with half of her, and her entrails spilled over a chain of copulators on the floor. The sodomitical orgy grew ever more ferocious. Within a short space it was a screaming, wailing, panting, tearing carnival of blood and gore that pooled out from the maelstrom. The figures in the crowd blurred into a writhing scarlet spray. Odessa gagged and wept and vomited as the cries reached a crescendo, and geysers of bile erupted all around. The red pool on the floor turned green, and just as Odessa and Trousers climbed up onto a table to get away from the ooze, the screams died down and the green-red spray cleared. The crowd had melted into a bubbling, sanguine, sulphuric pool. Shredded faces and torn-off limbs bobbed on the surface and melted into oblivion. The doors of the purple Mobius hall creaked open, and the waiting staff filed in. Odessa and Trousers hid behind the door as they tipped the plates and platters of meat into the steaming ooze. The smell of searing flesh filled the room as the meat disintegrated in the collective stomach of the Love Hotel. When the nearest staff had moved away, Odessa and Trousers crept out. A network of sprinklers turned on overhead, and as Odessa and Trousers rushed back to their room, the ooze drained from the center of the floor, destined for the vats in the nursery.